All your favorite wrestling shows rolled into one. Welcome to the We Book It podcast. Let's start the show.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of the All Elite Booking Recap. This is brought to you by the We Book It channel, the We Book It network. Appreciate you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you so much. I am your host, Virgil, here to talk to you about All Elite Wrestling's Dynamite episode for November 19th. This is your November 19th review of the show. Altogether, pretty solid show that AEW and Tony Khan put together. Definitely had some bright moments, definitely leading into Full Gear. This gives you more clarity into what's going on with some of these feuds. Can't wait to talk to you guys about it. So let's get right to it. And we start off with none other than the number one spot in the national championship Casino Gauntlet between Bobby Lashley versus Ricochet. So Ricochet demanded a microphone before the match to mock the crowd, MVP, and everyone in the Casino Gauntlet. Bobby Lashley waited until the referee allowed him to fight and chokeslammed the one and only onto GOA at ringside. Ricochet fought back but fell to the spear for the victory. Guys, I can tell you right now, this is mostly a squash match between these two. Like I said, at some point, Lashley and Ricochet should have a more complete contest together, but the story of this whole segment really made sense. The one and only was seemingly riffling to avoid the bell ring and paid for it once the Almighty was unleashed. It was not the most exciting opening match for AEW, but it was fun. Easy crowd pop to open the night and to set up Lashley as the dominant force everyone will fear in the Casino Gauntlet. After this win, though, it's more likely that Ricochet, rather than Lashley, will win the national championship, which is for the best. The Almighty makes more sense going for the world title. Told you guys a bunch of times, national championship is definitely going around the shoulder of Ricochet, and good for him on it. Ricochet liked to mess with the crowd. He came out in the Eagles hoodie and started his promo by cheering on his favorite team while mocking the New England Patriots. The one and only delivered a high-pitched scream as the Almighty chokeslammed him clean outside of the ring. Again, these two have great chemistry together. Remember, at one point, Ricochet was considering being a part of the Hurt Syndicate, but that was short-lived. You got to be a special breed to be a part of that Hurt Syndicate, man. They ain't just letting anybody up in there. But next up, we have the Young Bucks and Josh Alexander versus Sky Flight. The Young Bucks and Josh Alexander struggled to stay on the same page, and it almost cost them as Dante Martin got rolling late. However, after taking out Darius Martin and Scorpio Sky outside, the Young Bucks laid out Dante with an Indy taker, followed by Alexander forcing the tap out with the ankle lock. Afterward, Don Callis demanded an answer from the Young Bucks, demanding and even threatening them to join the Don Callis family. Kenny Omega arrived before the answer. The walking weapon caught him in an ankle lock, and then Callis demanded Matt Nick to hit him with the BTE trigger. But Jurassic Express arrived to make the save and clear the ring with the cleaner. So, yeah, we already know the Bucks more than likely are probably going to end up joining the Don Callis family. I like the fact that they have them going up against Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega, I like the fact that he is back and rolling. And, of course, we'll be going up against Josh Alexander as well. Definitely see them setting up a six-man tag match in the near future for these guys. Definitely something that you want to see. The Young Bucks have been on such a heater in the ring, and this was a letdown in comparison, but it was still a strong trios battle. In particular, Skyflight looked great throughout, taking advantage of the heel team's miscues and hesitations. The heels needed to win here ahead of the $1 million match, but hopefully this and Sky's individual performance against Kyle Fletcher on Collision get Skyflight more time on television. The teasers continue for the Young Bucks' likely face turn, reuniting the Elite. Full Gear has major money stakes, but the more important emotional stakes are Matt and Nick's allegiance. Where does their allegiance lie? And very well could lie with Kenny Omega and them having to take on the very well could have them taking on the Don Callis family. Well, I just have to check out for that. Next match, the number 2 spot in the National Championship Casino Gauntlet, Shelton Benjamin versus Speedball Mike Bailey. Sheldon and Speedball Mike Bailey went at it in the ring throughout this contest, but the gold standard would not stay down. After the referee decided the first super kick pinfall wasn't enough, Benjamin tossed Speedball around and finished it with another super kick. A bad finish hurt on otherwise exciting back and forth contest. Bailey and Benjamin work really well together and should be reoccurring opponents in the future. It's a shame the ending will be talked about more than the match. It looked like the referee Paul Turner did not realize that the first super kick was supposed to seal the win, forcing Benjamin and Bailey to improvise a follow-up series to end it. Even if Bailey was supposed to kick out, which seems less likely, it's best for the referee to count the pinfall. Anything else looks sloppy for the talent and the company. Wrist cue by the ref. Pretty sure he got cussed out in the back, but none still. Benjamin is your winner and will be number 2 in the National Championship Casino Gauntlet. Before this match, Tony Schiavone paid tribute to the wrestling legend Bob Caudle. MVP joined commentary and grew consistently frustrated with Benjamin playing with his food as Speedball rallied. Shelton and Bailey shook hands after the bell as a show of respect. MVP got in the referee's face about the near count, then refused to let the ref lift Benjamin's hand in victory. Interesting. Could you see a little bit of a rift there between MVP and Shelton Benjamin where he's getting upset with him? I don't know. We'll have to watch and see. John Moxley and Claudio Castagnoli versus Orange Cassidy and Roderick Strong was your next match. Castagnoli was an unstoppable force of nature in this match, while Moxley worked pissed off, struggling to keep his cool. After the Swiss Superman knocked out Freshly Squeezed with a European uppercut, the Death Riders leader locked in a bulldog choke, and the referee called for the bell as Cassidy was out cold. The Red Death Riders attacked Cassidy and Strong after the result until Kyle O'Reilly arrived. He got Mox to tap out to his ankle lock and then challenged him to Full Gear, no holds barred. That match is going to be insane between those two. The descent of Mox has been consistently entertaining story since his loss to Darby, and it seems likely that his time with the Death Riders is rapidly coming to an end, which isn't a bad thing. I call a year ago for the Death Riders' whole gimmick to end. But like I said, they're still going strong almost damn near a year later. We're in November. We are less than 2 weeks away from the end of November, ending according to December. And it was last December when I was saying that the Death Riders needed to end, which I guess in the form they did because they kicked out Daniel Bryan. But still, like I said, it wasn't the same. Castagnoli and Mox have at times looked like one of AEW's most dangerous tag teams, but here they were completely on different pages in a way that only heightened the action. Moxley needed this win, and he got it in a way that it still got him frustrated with his own allies. He will most certainly lose by submission to Kyle O'Reilly at Full Gear. Even if Mox wins, though, he won't be able to make Kyle O'Reilly tap out, and that could still be what cost him everything with the group that he built. Next up, we have the Women's World Tag Team title match, World Tag Team Tournament match for the tag team titles. Timeless Love Bombs versus Alex Windsor and Rio. So after a while back and forth, the tag team showcase, Mina and Storm hit hip attacks on Windsor and Rio across the ring, followed by a Storm Zero on Windsor for the victory, and those two move on. This was a delightful contest, highlighting the tag team chemistry of both teams. While it was not as heated as the previous quarterfinal clashes, this was all about the fun dynamics between the women. Windsor and Storm have already built so much story together in a short time, and she is one of the few women that can match the Timeless One's freak. Mina and Rio are also a great pairing in the ring, and they both made each other look even better through personal back and forth. This was almost most obviously result of the tournament, as the Time Bombs are too credible a tag team to lose in the first round. I'm predicting them to go all the way, but that's just me. Renee Paquette announced that the 4 teams in the semifinals will collide at Full Gear in a 4 corners match where the winner could choose the stipulation for their next tournament match. That's actually a great match. Not that you need that, because, I mean, the card for Full Gear is already super long, but I mean, I get it. Next up, it's our main event. Hangman Adam Page versus Katsuri Shibata. Page survived the most dastardly tactics of Shibata, slipped out of the wrestler's ankle lock, and with his boot free, then connected with a buckshot lariat for the win. Afterward, as Dynamite transitioned to Collision, Hangman knocked out Shibata with a kick between the legs. He then warned Samoa Joe that he was alone and facing a man willing to go to any lengths to win against him inside of a steel cage. This match fed families. This was what it was supposed to be. Obviously, the champion is supposed to win. You're heading into a steel cage match against Samoa Joe at Full Gear. I really don't know who's going to win that match. I would love to say Hangman Adam Page is going to win that match, but Tony Khan has pulled swerves before. Key putting right there. Pulled swerves before and taking the title off of people quickly. So we'll see. The Cowboy threatened to do to Joe what he once did to Swerve Strickland inside a steel cage if Joe pushed him too far. So we'll see. Last but not least, we have the Women's World Tag Team Tournament. It's TJ versus Megan Bayne and Maria Shafir. TJ started with the early advantage, keeping Bayne and Shafir on their toes in this match. However, they could not outmatch their dangerous opponent. Shafir saved Bayne from the Queen Slayer and locked in Mother's Milk for Anna for the victory. Afterward, the Timeless Love Bombs appeared on the Titantron to promise victory at Full Gear in their semifinals clash. Again, like I said, this was a great ending to the match. Penelope Ford continues to come out with Bayne as support. Hopefully, this indicates her recovery is going smoothly, and she will be back in no time. Juice Robinson and Austin Gunn talked up their $200,000 match at Full Gear, as Juice was especially obsessed with the money on the line. And that is your All Elite recap episode for November 19th. Let me know what you guys thought. What were the high points? What were the low points? If you ask me, I would give this probably about a solid B of a show. I really thought that there had some really high points, especially the Timeless Love Bombs. Enjoyed them immensely. Like I said, make sure that you guys continue to like, share, subscribe, and follow so that you get all your AEW updates right here on the network. Appreciate you guys so much for tuning in. Until next time, keep those bucket pistols sharp.